of the sheikhs that I had who was a great sheikh, for 19 years, Sheikh Muhammad Abu Bakr Hammuddin. He was really strong, very majestic, followed the Sharia 100%. And people would come to visit him. And he was like an angel, really. People would come to visit him. I would sometimes go get the door. They would ring the door, I would go get the door. And, people would be at the door who are of his ethnic background. And you see this man, you've never seen him before. He maybe smells like a cigarette. You can catch the smell of alcohol in his breath. And you take this person in and you think, like, this man, like if we asked him to recite Fatiha, he wouldn't be able to do it. And the sheikh would take people like that, and his habit was to give you milk. That's his custom. So he would bring the milk, he would sit in front of the people like a servant, he would pour him the milk, and then they put lots of sugar in the milk. That's what they would do. And then he gives it to him, and he treats him as if he were a saint, right? Not like, who are you? And like, you've never prayed, have you? And how are you with your wife? And how are you with your family? They're not like that. That's not the way we are. We are forgiving people. We are humble people. And you don't have a chance on the spiritual path if you're not that way. That's why the way of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah is a way also that opens up infinite vistas of spiritual development. And it comes out of these kind of beliefs also. That we are not judgmental. Whoever dies and has not repented from the burden of his sin, turn his matter over to Allah. Don't speak evil of him or her. Don't say that he's in the fire, she's in the fire, because you don't know. And you don't know even how they died. Maybe in their last moments they did tawbah, right? Maybe Allah forgave them everything. So be careful what we say. And we're not God. And we don't pretend to be God. And that's the thing also about these Muslims who are in our face. It's like, who in the world are you? Do you realize what is one of the greatest sins? The kabira. We talked about kabira. Okay, what is a major sin? Well, we know. Adultery, fornication, robbery, false witness, right? And you can name some other ones. There's one that's much bigger than that. And that is to talk about this religion in ignorance. If you say this is haram and you don't know, that is just like an act of adultery. Or you say that this is obligatory and it's not, that is like an act of robbery. And this is what we have in our community today. In Chicago, there was a brother, African-American brother, who came into Islam, and he's got his earrings, his golden earrings in his ears. And, he made wusul, he made wudu, he took the shahada, he goes into the mosque to pray, and some uncle comes up in his face and tells him, terrible things. And like, you can't have this is haram, this is haram. You're like, who are you? First of all, we have a whole science of enjoining right and forbidding wrong, and you don't say a word. And what's going to be the effect of this? And secondly, is that true? Because for something to be haram, everybody has to agree that it's haram. And Imam al-Shafi'i doesn't agree. Because he says that if it is covered with gold, but it's not gold itself, you can wear it. Makruh. So did you know that opinion? So you've got nothing to say. And what that man did was a major sin. And he thinks he's a saint. What's going on? See, this is moral decay. And we have got to learn to be quiet. We had a sister that came into Islam, and she had, astaghfirullah, she was wearing fingernail polish. Can you believe it? Fingernail polish. Can you think of anything worse? And so there's women, aunties, who are all over her. Your wudu is not valid. Look, this is an opinion that some schools have and others don't have. You've got nothing to say. And they drove her out of Islam. And they drove the man out of Islam too. He said, look, I did not become a Muslim to be talked to like this. And he walks out of the mosque. That is a major, major, major sin. And it happens in our communities all the time. That's one of the reasons why in the United States we have the Ta'leef Collective. The Ta'leef Collective with Brother Usama Cannon that tries to create safe spaces for Muslim men and women, converts, and also people that come from the backgrounds like most of you who may not have been practicing. And then they come back into the faith and they found out, like, of all the places in the United States, the place where I am the least welcome is not the bar, it's the mosque. What is going on? This is a really, really serious problem. Okay, and this is ignorance, and this is a major sin.